Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today you join me as I go to collect a Vauxhall Insignia that I've just bought for £800. Sounds a bit too good to be true, this. I'm a little bit worried, I'll level with you. It just sounds too cheap. Here's what I know about it. It's a 2013, it's black, it's done 120,000 miles, and the known faults are as follows. There's an ABS light on, and there's a traction warning light on. And they're apparently the reasons. The price is so low, but I don't know. I still smell a bit of a rat. It's come from a trusted source, but I haven't actually seen it yet, so I thought I'd bring you guys along to keep me company. I don't actually mind the Insignia. I know some people hate them, but I'm not one of those people. I think they're alright. Like any used car, it depends how they've been used and how they've been looked after. I've had some good ones over the years, and I've also had some horrors. Let's hope this one doesn't fall into the latter category. Fundamentally though, the Insignia in general is an awful lot of car for the money, and I think they're a lot better or a lot nicer looking anyway than the Vectra that it replaced. I'm hoping that this one will just need some sort of ABS sensor or wheel speed sensor. It could, I suppose worst case, need some sort of, well, ABS pump or something, but I don't know. I'm hoping, like I say, I paid £800 for it. If I can spend £700 on it, it'll owe me £1,500, and then it's got to be worth £3,000, hasn't it? So this should be an example of how to double your money. I hope. I desperately hope. In other news, I'm back in my high mileage Volvo XC70 for no other reason apart from the fact that I quite like it. I'm trying to get it up to 300,000 miles. It's currently on 296,678. So we've only got just over 3,000 more miles to do. I am planning another couple of road trips with this, so we should get there before you know it. Anyway, let's go and have a look at this Insignia, shall we? See you there. Well, we're here. Looks alright, I suppose. Oh no, hang on. The driver's side headlamp is all misted up, like it's got a leak. So new headlamp. That shouldn't be particularly dear on one of those because they're not xenon or anything fancy. Just a bog standard light. It's got bigger wheels. What else can I see? It's filthy, needs a good clean. But it's a late 2013 63. The bodywork looks okay actually. There's a small little chunk out of the driver's side wing mirror, but apart from that, that's one good thing about the Insignia actually, nothing's really that expensive on it. If it needs a new wing mirror, it won't be the end of the world. That looks alright, that looks well worth £800. Just hope they're not famous last words. Right, let me do a quick vehicle history check, which will tell us a little bit more about it. So as always, I'm going to go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg, which is Michael Jackson 63 Oscar Whiskey Golf, check vehicle. May as well knock the engine off, hadn't I? Right, well this is currently checking millions of vehicles in dozens of countries. This will tell us whether it's ever been stolen, written off, has outstanding finance on it, ever had a mileage rollback, all that sort of stuff. And before you buy a used car or motorbike, it's crucial that you do one of these checks. It isn't expensive and it's cheaper still if you use my promo code. If you use the promo code HIGHPEAK and click the link below in the video description, you'll get 10% off each and every vehicle check that you do. Right, and just like that, the report is ready. So that is a Vauxhall Insignia, no mileage fraud was disclosed, it's never been stolen, never been involved in any recorded accidents, and there's no outstanding finance. So we're all clear. It was registered in the UK in October 13, it had its first MOT in 2016, another one in 17, 18, 19. There aren't that many advisory items or fails, nothing too serious. Has it got a current MOT? Okay, right, so it failed its MOT test in October last year, then it was retested and it passed with the following advisory items. Offside rear tyre worn close to the legal limit on the edge, near side rear tyre worn close to the legal limit on the edge, and front brake pads wearing thin. Nothing too serious then, is there? Never been stolen. The mileage at the last MOT was 115,000 miles. I'm told it's done 120 right now. Okay then. Approximate valuation of this car when the seller's a company, £3,540. £800. Suspiciously cheap. Suspiciously cheap. It's a 6-speed 2-litre turbo diesel. That isn't a bad engine actually when looked after. We've also got a checklist of things to watch out for. So there are no manufacturer recalls found, that's good. But check the condition of the tyres. Beware of head gasket failure. Check all the fluid levels under the bonnet. Exhaust smoke, brake pads, rotors, all that sort of stuff. Well, that's fairly standard stuff, isn't it? Right, let's go and have a look. I do like this old Volvo. turning circle's not great, admittedly. Okay then, what have we got? What on earth is that bright thing in the sky? Does anyone know? I've not seen it for months. Well, the first bit of good news is that we've got 2 keys, although one's missing its lock button. Must have had quite sharp thumbnails, the previous owner. Ah, it works. It's quite windy, so excuse the wind noise. We have got an EcoSport 2 on the back, quite close to the legal limit. It's on about 2 mil of tread, bit of a dent there and a scrape. The bodywork looks very flat, it needs a good buff this. But it does look quite straight down the panels, which is good. That's the damaged wing mirrors I was telling you about. On the front we've got a Maximus M1, and that's got plenty of tread left, quite meaty tyre that. The brake discs, there's a little bit of a lip there, but they're not too bad. The wheels, I think, with a clean, would clean up quite well. Round to the front we've got water in the headlamp here, so the seal's obviously gone. Or it could have had a stone chip perhaps and it's let some moisture in. Either way, that needs replacing. I think the original reg plates look okay. Bit of a nudge here where they've nudged into something. Some chips here, consistent with 120,000 miles on the road. And the same there, a little bit of corrosion. We've got another Maximus around this side, and this wheel's quite curbed. It's metallic black rather than base black, and yeah, I think with a good polish it would buff up quite nicely. Touching that mark there. And on this side we've got, that looks ancient, that tyre, it's an efficient grip. Goodyear, right. It's got a chunk out of the sidewall. I cannot see the date stamp, but it looks as old as me. Ah, right, 44th week of 16. So yeah, it's quite old that, isn't it? Around the back we've got some damage. They're a big old car, these, aren't they? Big old car to not have parking sensors front or rear anyway. Hence the little marks. Not too bad though, that really. Not too bad. If we can sort this ABS issue out, I think we're on to a winner. Inside, how disgusting is it? Not very really, is it, for a change? Needs a good clean and a set of original mats because they're snide ones. They've got a hole in. But this would actually clean up quite well. We've got discarded on the floor, they're locking wheel nuts and some sort of empty butt pack, which is a bit of a concern, but there is some paperwork there, so I'm not too concerned yet. Oh, look at the cup holders. You know what? For all the flack they get, they're not actually a bad car. I mean, look at the... Let me get in here. Look at all the leg room. It's like being in an E-Class Mercedes. Well, this is all in order, isn't it? Mats over mats, which I always like to see. Somebody's taking a bit of pride. Manual windows in the back, so you can exercise your arm muscles. What have we got back here then? The boot on these are huge. Look at the size of that. We've got some spare bulbs. Oh no. Oh, one spare bulb. Got some spare oil. No spare tyre though. We do have an inflation kit and a tow eye cover. This is all quite clean. Quick vacuum. This will be alright, this. The struts are fine. Can barely pull that. Right. It has done 120,000 miles, 678. Electronic handbrake. It's all in quite good condition though, isn't it? No wear on anything. USB points. No nav or anything. I wonder what spec level this is then. We've got a leather steering wheel, so I don't think it's the complete base. And we've got auto lights. Right. Service history then. we've got some paperwork here and some wallets with service receipts in, so it will have some. It was supplied by Pentagon in Oldham in 2013. It had its first service at 19,000 miles. I wouldn't have waited 19,000 miles, but anyway. Long intervals, aren't they, on this? Right. First serviced at 19,000 miles, then 40, then 58. Then, what digit is that? Got no idea. Looks like an 8, but it can't be. 6, is it? Who knows? Looks like a W, to be honest. Anyway, another one at 64, another one at 78. This is all quite good, isn't it? Has it had a cam belt done? Not so far. 88,000 miles, another one at Pentagon. Had a battery as well. Did it? Can't have had 2 batteries, can it? And then nothing. Why does that always happen? Why do people give up? It's got full Vauxhall history until 3 years ago. Okay, so it is due a service. Let me see if there's any more history here. Perhaps where they haven't stamped the book. I think I'm being a bit optimistic there, to be honest, but shall try. The previous owner, I can't tell you his name, but he shares his name with a famous singer. Right. There's no wear on anything, is there? Steering wheel's all nice.
Service broadcaster.
Capital FM.
So important to bringing our country together.
Junior doctors.
Right. Missing cigarette lighter. This is all quite nice, isn't it? Let's have a look at this ABS sign then. So my engine light comes on, so nobody's disconnected that. Where are my glow plug lights? Right, there we go. Wait for them to go out. Right. Well, straight away, there's quite a lot of vibrations there. I know it's a 2-litre diesel. Oh dear, no, that's not right at all. Can you hear that? This is very, very lumpy, this. Worryingly so. We have got an ABS light on and a traction light on, which I was told about. But nobody ever mentioned the lumpiness to me, or that weird tone. Diesels are always, you know, a bit rough and ready anyway, but this is like a tractor. Wonder what that could be. I wonder if it's just, could be, if I'm lucky, it could just be the engine mounts. If they're shot, that could be why it's vibrating excessively. Doesn't sound great, that, does it? Doesn't sound great at all. Well, the brake pedal feels okay. There's not excessive travel on it. Owner's manuals, nothing else there. Not very happy about that, really. The windows work. I think we'll take this for a quick drive, see if it quietens down. I think that door's dropped slightly. You can hear it catching. Wants adjusting, I think. I don't like that vibration at all. Well, the first bit of good news is my electronic handbrake works. I don't like the sound of that at all. I'm not talking about Lizzo. That's not right. Not right at all. I think what I'm going to do first then is take this down to my mechanics, get them to scan it for me, and see what the possible cause is for the ABS and the traction light. Oh no, wow, that's terrible. It's weird though, because it doesn't feel like the engine's knocking. I don't think it's mechanical. I think that's, because it could be the engine mounts. Not sure. That's not right at all, is it? It pulls okay though. They're crap, these Insignias, aren't they? What a shame, because it's actually quite a nice clean car. I can see that someone's maintained it relatively well until 88,000 miles, and this, even with 120,000 miles on the clock, is still worth 3 grand plus. I could do with getting it fixed, couldn't I really? It would leave me fairly good profit margins. Just don't like the sound of that. The clutch feels okay though on the bright side, it's not rattling. The gearbox is quite slick, goes into every gear fine, there's no crunches. It's all fine. Quite like, sounds geeky, I quite like the gear knob on a Vauxhall Insignia. Fits in the palm of your hand nicely. We've got semi-electric seats. They work. Weirdly though, we've got no engine light on. Now you'd have thought if this was engine related, oh dear, if this was engine related, oh, got somebody there looking around my blue Kia Ceed. Yeah, weirdly, if this was engine related, you'd have thought I'd have an engine light on, wouldn't you? Which makes me think that it isn't necessarily engine. We'll see. Obviously, as you can tell by my commentary, I'm not a mechanic. But the fact it pulls so well makes me think that it... maybe I'll get away with this, you know. Maybe it will just be the rubber engine mounts. Why are people so impatient these days? Is there any need to blast the horn then because somebody pulled over onto the driveway? Maniac! Right, well I think that's all I can show you for now, so let me run this down to my mechanics and I shall be in touch in a couple of days' time. Hopefully with some good news. Because it does drive okay. If I can sort that vibration out, sort the ABS and traction light out, give it a service, give it an MOT, stick some tyres on the rear, I could possibly do this for my original budget of £700. In which case it'll owe me £1,500, sell it for 3.2, 3.4, winner. Right then guys, I'll catch up with you later on. Cheers. Well, we're back in the Insignia, and well, I've got good news and bad. Well, no, actually, I don't. It's all bad news. It's not quite what I thought it was, though. I was hoping that vibration was going to be engine mounts, but in the back of my mind, I thought it could be terminal. The vibrations could actually be the engine itself, but it turns out I was wrong. I took this down to my mechanics, and they've diagnosed it as needing a new clutch and flywheel, which is weird because it still operates fine, but that is apparently where that horrendous vibrations coming from, and it's quite an expensive job. So this is another example of a car that isn't worth saving. I said at the start this is probably worth 3 grand or 3,295 on the forecourt when it's all done. So when you bear in mind I've paid £800 for it, the long list of work that the mechanic said it needed would cost me, well, she quoted me actually, £1,500 plus VAT. So you're talking £1,800 on top of the £800 I paid, so that would be 2,600. So it isn't a viable business decision. It'd owe me 2,600 less my VAT margin, so there'd be almost no profit in it, and I'd have to live with it then for 3 months in case something else broke. When they plugged it into the diagnostic machine and scanned it to figure out why the ABS and traction light was on, that just needs a new sensor, and that's about £70, so that isn't the end of the world. But sadly the cost of the new clutch and dual mass flywheel, and probably a day's labour, they said, to sort it out, is going to write this car off. The clutch and flywheel kit itself is about £550 plus a day's labour. In addition to that, once they got it up on the ramp, there were a couple of oil leaks and it needed some new suspension components, some new arms and ball joints. So the list of things this car needs is quite long. Once again, this is an example of the previous owner just running this car into the ground. And it's a shame because fundamentally there's plenty of life left in the car in general. You know, had this not been the UK, had this been any other country in Europe, then this would probably be an £8,000 car, not a £3,000 car, so it would be worth the effort, it would be worth saving. But here in the UK, where everything's cheap, apart from labour, it just isn't. Then on top of that, don't forget we don't know if it's ever had a cam belt done, so that would be another £350. Plus it needs a little bit of body work, plus the wheels refurbing. Before you know it, it just isn't worth the effort. Which makes me think, how cheap does a car have to be in the first place? I thought £800 for a 2013 Vauxhall Insignia, I literally couldn't go wrong. How wrong was I? So I think what I'm going to do is go and drop this off with my pal who deals with cheaper bangers and see what he wants to do. I think even if he were to advertise this spares and repairs as it is, I still think there's a couple £100 profit in it. Or alternatively, you could do the clutch yourself one weekend and then you'd have a 2995 car. Who knows? But for me as a business, I just can't go any further with it, unfortunately. I hate saying that, I'm not a quitter. It really bothers me. I like to save everything, even if it is an old Insignia. I suppose on the bright side, I have learnt something new. If ever I get in one of these again and it's got that weird vibration, I'll know what it is straight away. Like they say, you learn something new every day, don't you? I should have probably picked up on the fact that it was the flywheel, because in a higher gear, it's still doing it now, as you can hear, but when we put it into fourth, not so much. How strange. Oh well, on to the next one. Well, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave a link below. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you've had this sort of thing before, let me know below. Hopefully in the next video you'll see me rescue something rather than give up with it. Don't like to give up. Anyway, see you next time. Cheers guys.